All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men in God. What to do after you fight with your wife. So, look, there's always going to be conflicts in marriage, in relationships, with your kids, with colleagues. So, we're going to talk about what to do after to repair that relationship. This is something I'm working on actively right now and wanted to share what's working for me. So, my name is Mike Frazier, MD. I'm a psychiatrist on the path with you to live longer, stronger, and happier with our foundation in God. So my personal wins this week, has been letting myself feel pain instead of going to anger. That's helped a lot. Definitely recommend it to you as a potential strategy. If you find yourself angry a lot, probably there's hurt you're trying to not feel by getting mad. So letting yourself feel that pain can let you access things differently and helps you repair things better than coming out in anger at people. I've been setting up a Tough Mudder run with work colleagues. I'm excited to do that. Got the Strongman Daily formula put together, so I'll be sending that out in an email to you guys about kind of what's going to be in it, so you can join a pre-order list if that's interesting to you. Just has stuff that a guy over 40 needs that actually has data to back it up. So you're taking what you need, everything you need, nothing you don't. Getting good support for your body that you need as we age a little bit here. The other thing I've decided is to take a break from coaching and programs this year for 2026. It's something I've done for a long time now. It's kind of hard to not do that, but it seems like the right time to go ahead and take a break. I'll still be doing the podcast. I'll still be sending you guys updates and email about tips and things I'm learning. I enjoy doing the podcast. It's a way for me to kind of reflect on what I've learned and share it. So I'll keep doing that. There won't be any programs this year though, but join the email list. You'll get updates on tips, products, stuff that I feel like is going to be useful for guys like us. Including the Strongman supplements formula and the progress on that. So, so probably maybe what you're trying now, right? Something happens with your wife, you have a fight. I'm just going to use my example because I think it's good to use specific examples on this stuff. So, I was about to fall asleep, had just fallen asleep. My daughter came in to the room and woke me up. And I really don't like my sleep being interrupted. I was tired. And so I overreacted, right? I was like, oh, you shouldn't be in here. And I'm going to, I need to make a rule. No one can come in here after 10:30. Like I was mad. And so in the next few days, Elizabeth and my daughter too, it's probably accurate, kind of pulled away some, right? Now, remember, for me, there's this long history of anger outbursts, and some of them could be pretty extreme, pretty scary. I didn't beat anybody up or anything, but it was frightening. I'd get in people's face, I'd yell, right? In games, sometimes I would get overly physical, and so there's a reason why it would be scary, even if it's not what I would consider extreme anger. This was not extreme anger, but it was definitely an overreaction, and I was angry, right? So Elizabeth seemed distant. She pulled away. I started feeling myself getting angry, right? But thankfully, because I've been kind of having that goal of, okay, let me increase my emotional pain tolerance. Let me kind of turn to the pain instead of going straight to the anger. That evening I was able to access more of that pain feeling, not that evening, but a few evenings later. And realized, look, it does feel painful to be rejected by her, or to feel like she's rejecting me, to feel distant from her. So that night I kind of just let myself feel it. I was like, oh man, this does hurt. It's not fun to feel that rejection, to feel that distance. And kind of related it to feeling distant from my son. And I don't like that feeling, that pain, right? So came to the decision, all right, well, I'm going to talk about this with her the next morning, which was also a win for me because she's told me lots of times, I don't like doing these kind of talks at night. I would often run over her with that and just be like, well, when else are we going to talk? But it was a weekend, we had a morning, so went and talked to her, which for me was a win, to not force my agenda and getting things done right now, but to wait until it was a time that would work for both of us. So small wins, right? So the way I started out, I started just telling her, yeah, I felt hurt that she was pulling away. So the first thing she says was, well, maybe it wasn't that. Oh, I should clarify. So a few days before we had this discussion, I had apologized. And I said, hey, look, this was kind of a suggestion from my therapist. I had talked to her and just said, look, I know maybe are you pulling away maybe because I overreacted the other day? And she was like, yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I did overreact. I apologize to our daughter. And she was like, okay. But so that okay probably to her was like, all right, we're good. But I didn't translate it as that. So I kept feeling like there was this distance there. And what had actually happened, her pulling away was more something else. And that's what she was trying to tell me. But in this moment when I was like, hey, I felt hurt, you were pulling away. Um, I felt like I apologized and you're just kind of holding it over me. That's what it feels like. She was like, well, that's not right. And usually I would have just kind of let that go. But that day, just yesterday, I think it was, um, I was like, hey, it makes it hard for me to share what's hurting me if you just immediately jump in and tell me I'm wrong. So could you just please continue to listen? She's like, okay. So I asked her to do that. She did. Um, I asked her to just acknowledge that it was hurtful. Also, asked her, hey, can you just clarify, like, are we okay after what happened with our daughter? And she was like, yeah, we're okay. It's like, okay, great, thank you. So then I felt more calm, right? Um, and yeah. And she said, yeah, she forgave me. It wasn't about that. So I felt like that moment was repaired, right? Then I brought up something else that had been felt painful for me, that when she was holding my hand, she had been doing it in a different way. And I had taken that, it is kind of an interesting story, but it's probably a good example of how like our past can shape how we interpret things. And so, early on in our relationship, she held my hand like with fingers interlocking, and she was like, "Well, if people don't do it that way, that's weird." And so recently, she'd been not holding my hand with fingers interlocking, but just kind of like putting her hand on top of mine, that kind of thing. So I had taken that as like, we're not okay. Something's wrong. You're holding something against me. I have that kind of thought a lot. You're holding something against me. Um, so again, I was like, hey, it's kind of painful. Here's why, this is what I'm taking. And she was like, actually, it's not that at all. Like, my thumb is injured and it just kind of hurts to move it that way. It's like, okay. So again, my interpretation was wrong. But again, because I was coming her, instead of like mad, which would have been my past for sure, I would have been like, well, you're always holding against things against me. You need to change, you need to forgive me. Or like, you need to hold my hand different. Like, or you shouldn't be holding my hand this way. It just worked way better because I just was showing her how I was hurt and asking her to help me with that. So I felt like she heard my pain. She met me. We felt more connected. I felt more connected to her. And then she was like, well, can I share what's going on with me? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so, she let me know she was feeling overwhelmed. She didn't feel like I was giving her the support that she wanted as far as things around the house. And she said, hey, I don't need you to say anything right now. I just need you to listen, which I was able to do. And then kind of spent that day, had time yesterday to spend the day cleaning the house and kind of helping out with that. So she felt supported there. Um, so then we had a really good date night. We were able to have fun, connect, relax, right? So this was a big win for me. I'm really happy about it. I wanted to share that whole process so you can implement it in your marriage or other relationships, right? Kind of lead with that hurt instead, right? So kind of the steps for me would be share the pain. Okay, this is what hurt. This is what happened. Here's how I'm interpreting it. Um, and then just ask for like, hey, are we okay? Like a signal, like, are we okay after that? Or, maybe you need to make a request. Hey, can you change this? Or, um, you know, but having like that terminology with each other, yeah, we're good, we're okay. Maybe it's a hug. Elizabeth and I hugged after this. That helped me know we're okay. Um, and then you want to listen to their pain. So share your pain, listen to their pain, right? And help each other, right? So that's about it. Share your pain, ask for okay, listen to her pain, make sure she's heard, and then help each other out, right? So try it out this week. If something's been bugging you, instead of sharing, hey, you need to change this, which was definitely my strategy for many years, it's like, hey, that's hurtful to me. What's going on? Is there something to clarify here? Is there something I'd like you to change? Let me ask for that, right? It's scary to do that because they might say no, they might not listen. It's scarier than being mad, which feels more powerful and controlling. But being mad's less effective to repair, right? It pretty much doesn't repair things. So lead with that hurt, which is hard, and some people would say vulnerable. I still love that word, but open, truthful, let's say. And yeah, try it out. So Join our email list. Go, get more tips and tools on living longer, stronger, and happier with your foundation in God by joining our email list. You'll get special offers, updates, get updates on the supplement brand as it's coming out. So again, strongman.io if you're not already on the email list. All right, stay strong in God, man. We'll see you next episode.